my darlings, and welcome to a new episode of After Dark Fairy Tales. I have a new one for you all, and the title of this one is called Missing Child. Now, this wonderful tale was written by a very gifted author named Sarah Welch, and Sarah's Reddit name is Sarah Welch 444. Sarah's story was first published on Red Sea Scary Stories, and I'm very honored that Sarah wants to be the narrator story to you all tonight. It's a very wonderful tale, and I hope you all enjoy it just as much as I did. I want to say to all my new subscribers, welcome to After Dark Fairy Tales, and I'm glad that you are a part of the After Dark family. I want to also say to all of you, thank you for the likes and the comments, and I'm glad that you all are enjoying my narration, but most importantly, the stories. So are you all ready to find out or hear Sarah's missing child? Well, here we go. Missing Child by Sarah Welch. I remember when we first called the police last night to tell them we hadn't seen our daughter in a few hours. I sobbed over the phone next to my husband, Jack, and begged them to do something. She was only 6 years old. Being missing for only a few hours meant something must have been wrong. It was a small town. We all knew each other and lived in peace for the most part. How could something be wrong? They sent a few officers out, and upon coming to our home, realizing the situation in full, they began to worry too. Our property was large. We lived in a small town, Jack and me. We had moved here when I got pregnant with Emmy. We wanted to start life anew, and life with a white picket fence in front of our home. So we moved to a small, middle-of-nowhere town and got a big house right in front of the woods. Maybe some people would be displeased by the thought of that simple lifestyle. I'll admit, I used to be, or afraid of what lurks within the vast woods behind our home, but I never feared them. We would often take walks through the woods as a family. They were beautiful. Emmy was so drawn to adventuring in them, so she was very familiar with them. She could have run out there, and any number of things could have happened to her. We started with search parties through the woods, but nothing came up. We searched through every acre of land that we could, but nothing turned up. Not one thing. Not a footprint. Not an article of clothing. And luckily, not a drip of blood. We wouldn't find her out in the woods where everyone thought she would be found. Next, we had to start to cope with the fact that she could have been taken. We were a close town. I knew all of my neighbors, and they all knew me. Everyone was kind. I always felt safe here. I was sure that nobody in this town could have taken my Emmy from me. So if somebody had taken her, she must have been long gone. After weeks and weeks of searching to no avail, the case grew cold. The officers promised that they would keep looking, but there wasn't much hope in their voices. They tried to hide that from Jack and me, but I wasn't stupid, and he wasn't either. They had given up hope. Unless something turned up, they couldn't keep on looking for her in a town that we knew she wasn't in. I remembered vividly walking through town after that and seeing all the missing posters slowly rot and decay on their telephone poles and bulletin boards and storefronts. Nothing bad ever happened in our quaint little town, so no matter how much time passed, nobody would forget about the tragedy our family had suffered. Flyers would fly off in the wind, and I'd watch them go by, and townsfolk would often come up to me and comfort me and give me words of encouragement. But after the first few weeks, having everyone there for you, you're still in shock. It isn't until the initial phase passes and you are left alone with what you are facing that you truly face it. The shock wears off and you come to terms with your reality. That was 10 years ago. My husband still sits by the phone sometimes, but he knows there will never be a call. He loved our little Emmy so much. She was Daddy's little girl. She was beautiful and perfect in every way. Her baby blue eyes always stared into his so longingly. They just loved each other so much. I know that he lays by the phone some nights and waits to hear her voice again, knowing he never will. Jack and I only have each other now, just like before. I sat down there with him one night. It was her birthday. He couldn't sleep after we had celebrated with a cake for her, as we do every year, and watched some old home movies. She would have been 16 today, turning into a woman and caring about the boys in school who would ask her to the prom. I know he just wanted to see what she would have been, and it killed him not to know. We sat up by the phone watching one of her favorite Disney movies that we all saw together right before she went missing. As the animation flew across the screen and we were entranced thinking about her, a loud ring interrupted it. It could have been anyone, but Jack frantically grabbed the phone on the first ring and picked it up. I paused the movie and watched carefully, knowing that I would have to watch the hope drain from my love's eyes once again. It hurt me more every time I saw it happen. Tears started to fall from his eyes, but as I went to comfort him, I noticed that they were tears of joy. No, it was impossible. He hung the phone up after saying thank you and dropped it to the floor, trembling. "They found her," he said to me tearfully. "I knew they would." My body froze. Maybe it was shock that came over me, but I knew that she was dead. She had been dead for 10 years. I accepted that, and Jack never did, but I knew she was dead. I froze, and tears came to my eyes as Jack ran up out of the chair to grab his keys. He grabbed me and led me into his car, and we raced to the station. Upon entering it, we saw her with the same officer who had worked on the case all those years ago. Jack ran up to the beautiful blonde girl quickly, embracing her in his arms and leaving me behind to stand there, paralyzed. I was in disbelief, convinced what I was seeing could not be real. I wondered if she remembered me, if she remembered who I was. After witnessing the tearful hug, I saw her pull out of it. She turned to look at me, and the moment I saw those beautiful baby blue eyes, I knew it was my daughter. There was no doubt at all. Tears flowed down her face as she walked up to me slowly. Did she remember? "Mom," she said, her voice breaking and shaky. I stared at this beautiful girl in front of me, dumbfounded. For a moment, before responding, I felt as if my voice could not escape from me. "Baby?" I choked out to her. Without responding, she collapsed in my arms, sobbing. I stood there frozen for a moment, unsure of how to react to this shocking discovery. But after a moment wrapped my arms around her, clutching her like any loving, grieving mother would do to her missing child newly found. A tear came to my eye silently and raced down my cheek as I exhaled a breath of relief. I thought she was dead. No, I knew she was dead. How was she not? It had been 10 years. How did she survive? I found out later she had amnesia. She barely remembered anything from when she went missing because of the blow to her head. They didn't know who caused it. Thank God they didn't. Thank God I hit her in just the right place. I sat there next to Emmy, who barely even knew my name. She didn't remember who her parents were until she saw us again. That meant she couldn't have remembered when I took her out into the woods that night and struck her across the back of the head with my Jack's old metal bat from his baseball days, from when we could be together and live our lives how we wanted without her getting in the way and making us uproot everything when all we had was each other and all we loved was each other. She's upstairs in her old bedroom now. We just got home last night. The neighbors have sent gifts and flowers and food. They've all been so wonderful and supportive. Jack is up there, bringing her breakfast in bed and eating with her, with much more love for her now than he ever had before. Maybe it's because he understands what it was like to lose her. She means even more to him now than ever. I'm growing more paranoid. I'm afraid that her memory will come back. It hasn't yet, but I'm petrified that second she sees the woods, my cover will be blown. It's not like I can kill her again. That would look too suspicious, wouldn't it? I made sure everything would work out. I took her to the woods that night, hit her across the head, and drove so far out of town that she could never get back. I threw her body in the lake. I watched as she floated away lifelessly. I know that she drowned, but here she is, back again. Was she sent to punish me? Jack came down the stairs to tell me that she wanted to see me. His smile is larger than ever now that she's home again. He hasn't smiled at me like that since the day we got married, or the day I gave birth to Emmy. It's all he wanted in the world, and he has it now. I'm nothing, and she's everything. If she was sent here to punish me, or if she was aware of what I had done and hell-bent on revenge, he wouldn't even care. I'm opening the door to her room now, to see her sitting upright in her bed, staring at me with a smile painted on her face. I take a deep breath in preparation for whatever is to come, facing the truth or having to hide behind a mask for the rest of my days until I can figure out what to do with her. If I can't figure out anything, then I'll just live in constant fear of her memory coming back and knowing what happened on that night when I killed her. Well, was that gritty or what? Did y'all enjoy that one? I hope you did. I enjoyed it. And I want to give all credit to Sarah. I'm glad that she let me narrate this one. And I just love the twist. So y'all let me know what you think about it in the comments. And please check out Sarah's Reddit and her other stories. I pasted the link to her Reddit page, and I also posted the link where her story was published. So please check those links out as well. So congrats to Sarah and all credit to her. And I hope that all of you enjoyed Missing Child. Pretty creepy, huh? That's a hell of a mama. So I'll be back next time with another After Dark fairy tale for you all. And I hope that you all enjoyed tonight's After Dark fairy tale. So I'll see you all again. And until next time, good night, my darlings.